the music of Stephen King's latest novel, Later. Stephen King has a brand new novel called Later. Stick with me until the end of the video so you can learn about every instance of music mentioned in this fantastic Stephen King classic. I do have the paperback copy. It looks like this. If you want to follow along with me as we go, make it an interactive thing. Also leave a comment, whatever you want to say about this book, the music that's mentioned in it. We are jumping right in on page 117 in your book. The drum beat intro to Rumor Has It has come from the pocket of Liz's blazer. What's interesting about this, and I thought that this was the case, and I was right, Stephen King has misspelled rumor. He missed the U. Stephen King is missing you. You're not around and I'm an effing disaster. Was that on purpose? Was it intentionally part of the narrator's misspelling, or was that a mistake by Stephen King? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Was it intentional misspelling? We're on to page 139 now in your booklets. You guys want to watch me turn pages, right? This is a page turner of a video, not a trumpet blast, more of an oboe. Now, this is a Stephen King novel, so this narration here, it's a fart jokes. There isn't any pants peeing in this Stephen King novel, which is very, very unusual. Now we're flipping to 191 and 192. Very good read. I just finished it. It only took me a couple days, and it's really fantastic. It does start off as kind of like a Sixth Sense ripoff, which it shouts that out pretty quickly, that it is going to detour from that narrative, and it does. Page 191 and 192. But it makes me think of something Chet Atkins said once. You ever heard of Chet Atkins? I shook my head. How soon the great are forgotten. Google him when you get back. Excellent guitarist, up there with Clapton and Knopfler. He was talking about how bleepy he was at tuning his instrument. I'm with you on that, Chet. By the time I realized I was no good at that part of the job, I was too rich to quit.
By the time I realized my YouTube videos were so cringeworthy and I had a pimple in the middle of my nose, I was too rich to quit.
This is where we get into where it flips over on the next page. Not very interesting there. You know, it goes from one page to the next. You know how books work. Probably haven't heard of Bear Stearns any more than you've heard of Chet Atkins, right? And I hadn't heard of that either, even though it's a real thing. I had to Google that. And then a few lines later, she's talking about someone she knows. Future was so bright, he had to wear shades. If I may borrow from an old song. This next one's a little bit interesting on page 237 in your manuals. Whistling. Whistling is music. It is. Don't whistle. Don't whistle. I told myself, but I did. I couldn't help myself. I was whistling, Let It Be. I remember that very clearly. I hadn't got through more than the first 6 or 8 notes when I heard footsteps
behind me.
Now, instead of later, we're flipping over to 239 in your later booklet. It was like Liz said about Chet Atkins, the great guitarist, how soon they forget. Now we're on 245, talking about parents. Parents who can't carry a tune and a tailpin can produce a singing prodigy. Illiterates can produce a great writer. Comes from nowhere, or so it seems. That was all the musical references in Stephen King's Later, but we are not done yet. We have, at the back of this paperback copy, we've got a teaser of the excellent Joyland in this same hard case crime grouping by Stephen King. And you better believe my musical OCD would not allow me to leave without counting the musical references in Joyland. No page numbers here, just pure and utter literary and musical joy. And actually, just this little, just few pages of Joyland has way more references than Later. So buckle your YouTube something. Again, like I said, no page numbers. I'm just going to jump right into the musical references of Joyland. You've heard 1,000 pop and country songs that prove the point. Some fool got his heart broke. Yet that first broken heart is always the most painful, the slowest to mend, and leaves the most visible scar. What's so sweet about that? Then there's some talk about a car, the clunker Ford with the good radio, because that's what's important. Next entry is going to be, there was an open toolbox, a big portable radio on an orange crate beside him. The faces were singing Stay With Me. The guy was bopping to the beat, hands in his back pockets, hip moving side to side, and I had a thought, absurd, but perfectly clear. When I grow up, I want to be just like this guy. I want to look just like this guy. There was also a concert hall where most of the acts, this I learned later, were either B-list or C&W, or the kind of rockers who peaked in the 50s, or remember that Johnny Otis and the Big Joe Turner did a show there together. I had to ask Brenda Rafferty, the head accountant, who was also a kind of den mother to the Hollywood girls, who they were. Ben thought that I was dense. I thought she was old. We were both probably right. This is in reference to a lot of 60s music in this situation. Maybe he couldn't hear me over his radio, which was blasting Crocodile Rock. Or maybe he just wanted my occupation as one of Joyland's cadre of happy hounds to come as a surprise. Sorrowful or not, I like you. You give off good vibes, good vibrations. One of my favorite Beach Boys songs. But you are on the edge of great sorrow. She paused, doing the old emphasis thing. And perhaps danger. Thank you guys so much. This is a really great book. If you want to read it, I got it from the library. And we can, I can give you a little look at it really quick. There's pages with words on them. That's the front cover. A lot of praise for it. That's the back cover. You got a lot of recommendations for other pulp fiction type books. Songs of Innocence, Sinner Man, Memory, Brother's Keeper, The 20-Year Death. Check it out from your library. Get it?